Arteta has said something today, and I want to get your opinion on this. Obviously, the West Ham game happened, poor performance. There's been reviewed to the cows have come home. I don't think we need to touch on that particularly again. But Arteta has said, brace yourselves. He said, if somebody tells you at the start of the season that by this time you will have played 5 times with a red card, over half an hour in each of them, and you would have lost this amount of players, that's what's the bets? You're in the middle of the table at least, and you're out of the Champions League. But that's not the situation. So that tells you the resilience, the resourcefulness, and the ambition of the team, and every individual has that. Time has probably not. This has been one of. Time has probably been one of my proudest moments to work in that sense. The problem is when you are there, you want more and more. I'm not going to stop over my dead body that we are going to stop thinking that way and putting everything we can to increase the possibility of us winning. So, I mean, what I'm reading in that is we probably should be mid-table with the amount of red cards we've had and the injuries that we haven't. We're not. We were second in the league. We're in the Champions League. That's one of my proudest achievements in the last 5 years due to that context. What do you make, Potsy, of Arteta saying this?
Arrogance of the man is quite astounding, if I'm honest with you. The arrogance of the man is absolutely unbelievable. This Arsenal side should not be mid-table. This Arsenal side should not be out of the Champions League in who it's come up against. Who it's come up against. Now, I could appreciate that it's not been easy for Arsenal at games, but the Premier League isn't easy. You don't just waltz up to it and win games of football. Now, I'll go back to this yet again, that red cards in those games did not lose us or drop us any of those points. And the reason I say that and I stand by it is because we were crap against Bournemouth with 11 men, and we were never beating them with 11. We were never beating Brighton with missed chances when we went down to 10 men at Declan Rice. We were never able to hold out against Manchester City. That's maybe the only one you could say, because Trossard kicked the ball away. Maybe we dropped points there because it was a last gasp equaliser from Stones, which probably kicked us in the gonads a bit. Other than that, I don't know what the guy's moaning about. Injuries. Whose fault's that, Mikel? Whose fault's that? With the injuries we've had, we're lucky we're not mid-table. Is this guy serious? He's the reason we've got half these injuries.
Yeah, it's serious.
He's not only the reason that he's got these injuries. We did nothing in the January transfer window either on top of that.
Yeah, why didn't you buy anyone in January then, innit? Clown. You know what I mean? What's he talking about, bro?
And then LB says, over my dead body, are we out of this? Or why didn't he use that in January? Over my dead body, are we leaving this squad the way it is?
Why didn't you say that to you? He was 8 points clear in January. And say,
well, the pressure's off now, isn't it? The pressure's off now, bro.
Exactly, yeah. It's easy to talk. When the pressure's not on, yeah, it's easy to talk, bro. Yeah, when the pressure's on, yeah, bro, people don't speak in it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Arsenal have only got themselves to blame. Yeah, horrendous transfer window in the summer, horrendous transfer window in January. Hence, 0 trophies again for the Arsenal. 0 trophies again for the Arsenal. 20 years without a Premier League, 5 years without a trophy. And people want to sit there and say, oh, Arteta is the best thing since sliced bread. Mint, okay, cool. Yeah, but that club ain't serious, mate. That club ain't serious because what are they? Why did they not buy anyone in January? That's a disgrace, man. You need to be calling them owners out, bro. The sporting director, the manager, you all do. Whether you're pro Arteta, whether you're anti Arteta, yeah, you all need to start calling these guys out because to be in a title race for the 3rd year in a row and not sign a single player is not acceptable for a club like Arsenal. It's not acceptable, man. They need to be signing someone. Do you know what I mean? And people say, oh, talk about market opportunities. Kvaratskhelia. Mamouche. Yeah. Well, they're 2 top players. So what we could sign them, no?
Even, right, and I wouldn't want some of these players. Even West Ham got a striker in, bro. Yeah. Aston Villa got 3 attackers in fact. 3 of them which scored, I think, in the last 3 games. I think they've all scored now. Yeah. It is absolutely criminal. And I didn't want Rashford anywhere near Arsenal, but at least Villa went and got someone and tried to add to their squad. Yeah, Tottenham Hotspur are in an absolute mess. They signed someone. Man United signed a wing-back that could actually try and do something for them going forward. And Arsenal are sitting there with one of the worst attacks in the league, by the way. Yeah, when there's only Southampton, Leicester, Man United, and maybe one or two more that you would question that don't have a better attack than Arsenal right now, because everybody else absolutely does. West Ham have got a better attack than us at the weekend. Of course they have. Owen and
Yeah, I
Kudus
agree.
are better than what we've got.
Yeah,
So
facts.
we're
Yeah.
sitting there going for a title, wondering whether to play Trossard, Sterling, or Marino up front, to try and win us a title. And people are sticking up for this. Judges put on it today. He reacted to the press conference. You should see the abuse he's got from the Twitter. I've never, ever, ever seen a manager stuck up so much more by a fan base in my whole entire life.
I've never seen it before like this. So passionate, so intolerant to other people's views. And the guy's won one trophy since he's been there, and then has ripped the squad apart and built his own squad that haven't won anything. I find it absolutely. I'm not saying you don't have to be Arteta. You can be Arteta in 100%, but the intolerance to other people's views, who question the manager when he spent 750 million quid and he's going to go yet another season without winning a trophy, is weird. It's cult-like. It is cult-like. That is facts. It's cult-like. You know, they don't even
LB,
like
what we did.
having
This
a
same fan base, hounded out a manager that was here for 22 years that won us everything other than the Champions League, which you boys will remind me of. And for the last 5 years, he's won more than Mikel Arteta has done in his first 5 years. And those last 5 years was horrible around the Emirates, mate. Horrible. You wouldn't want to go near the place because it was banners out, there was marches, it was get this manager out. This manager's an old dinosaur. He's a disgrace. He doesn't deserve a statue. Blah blah blah. Get him out. Yet this manager, do not. They treat him like he's their baby nephew or their son or something. It's so bizarre. It is absolutely incredible. Now, look, I don't want to come across as someone who's not giving Arteta praise for the fact that he has put us challenging again, because that's facts. That's what he's done.
Yeah,
but that's as far as he's now got. We now need to move him on, and the ownership needs to show some ambition. And because the ownership are going to do neither of those things, that's why it is on them. So we will get to May, and if he hasn't won a Champions League or a Premier League, which he's not going to do, he should be sacked. And if the owners are not going to sack him, and they're going to keep him, and they're going to continue to just dwindle along and get in this top four, I am not coming for Mikel Arteta's head. I'm coming for the ownership's head. And that's what will be in May. And the fans need to wake up and make that decision. Otherwise, they're going to sit there dwindling along going, one day this process will come to fruition and I'll show everybody that we're going to win. I mean, Igal, bless him, the other day was talking to Lourdes about how we're going to dominate football in the next 6 years. I mean, what is going on here? What is happening?
Break that down?
Yeah. Trust me, I'll get the clip. I'm on with Igal later. I'm going to speak to him about it. He spoke to Lourdes in a preview and said, in the next 5 to 6 years, Arsenal are going to dominate football and we're going to win everything. Where's that come from?
I'm gonna break down why I think he thinks that. Just off hearing that, I think he feels that Liverpool are going to lose Trent, Salah, and Van Dijk and not replace them, and that Pep's leaving, and Arsenal will still have Arteta. I think that's his rash. I think that's his rash.
So wait. So we're going to wait.
Now, isn't it?
But this has been the thing. Yeah, but this has been the thing for the last couple of years. We'll wait for Klopp to leave. We'll wait for Pep to leave. Oh, Klopp's left. We just have to wait for Pep to leave, and then Pep signs a new 2-year contract.
And then Slot wins anyway.
And then Slot comes in and wins anyway. You know what I mean? It's
a joke,
so,
bro, honestly.
It's almost as if like they're so scared to sack the manager and get someone else in just in case they go backwards, that their only view of success is they just have to wait for everybody else to be crap. And this year, City are crap, but Liverpool aren't. And now they're just saying, oh, well, Liverpool will be crap in a few years when they all leave and Pep leaves, so then they'll be crap and then we'll be the best.
There's always an excuse. There's always an excuse, man.
It's crazy,
and
man.
The excuse was Slot's inherited a squad. So Slot's not won the league then this year, people. Klopp has. Klopp won the league. Slot doesn't get any praise whatsoever. It's Klopp's team. He's inherited the squad. It was easy to win. So Slot doesn't deserve any credit. What a load of crap that is. Yeah. What a load of absolute waffle.
No, I agree with that. Same as, it 100% is. I think the waiting game, I understand, and I'm only assuming that is why Gal said what he said.
No, it is. He explained exactly that, Till. That is exactly.
I thought that would be the case. The problem with that train of thought is this. It doesn't matter whether you're winning the league or you're coming second. You're still in those title races. It's still exhausting. You may maintain a different type of hunger, but it's still exhausting. This team and this group has been together not the group's been together completely 5 years, but Arteta's been there 5 years. This will be next season. He goes into 5.5, 6th year. You're getting into a period where you're becoming a long-term appointment.
Yep.
Most managers get 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years in the history of football. 6, 7, 8, 9 years is a massive amount of time at a football club. There's a handful of outliers, Fergies and Wengers and Cloughys, who did 2, decades at football clubs. But most kind of get to 8, 9, 10 years and it's done. There's also a train of thought. And this doesn't matter. Again, forget the original Arteta in, Arteta out debates. I think both sides have lost that debate, that argument. And I mean that in the sense of they've made loads of claims each about the manager. Got loads right, got loads wrong. I think it's done. There's been too much time's passed since the original debate to claim a victory over it because the world has changed. I think the conversation now is whether you think he was good enough in the beginning or not. It's can he keep the team motivated? Can he be the person to keep them up by the top and get them over the line? At some point, forget it's Arteta's name. Forget this is Arsenal. At some point, he has to change because history dictates it. History dictates that managers come to the end of their cycle at a football club, win, lose, or draw titles. Whether you win 5 out of 5 league titles that you're in or none, there comes a point where a change is good for everybody. So the reason I bring that up doesn't mean you won't win it next year, but the idea of we've just got to wait for Liverpool to fall apart and for City to not be as good. By the time that happens, Arteta might have been too exhausted to be the manager of Arsenal because he's been there 8 years.
Exactly.
You can't pin your hopes on that.
The thing is as well, right? Arsenal, one of the biggest clubs in the world, right? Fan base is insane. I mean, you don't have that many Arsenal fan channels, and they'll all be very successful if you don't have a massive fan base, right? Yet they act like they're minnows, like that they're a Leicester. Like, it would be an unbelievable achievement. You're one of the biggest clubs in the world, yet you're talking about, we'll just wait for everybody else to be rubbish, and then we'll win it when everyone else is rubbish. Like, I just don't get this mentality. You can't go around and say you're this massive club, and at the same time not act like a club. I think, you know what I think it is for me, yeah? Because obviously I'm not even an Arsenal fan, right? I just find this whole thing very amusing, and I like to play on it as well, right? But here's the thing for me, right? I think it'd be a lot easier to understand the views of the very pro Arteta people if they give us a cut-off date. But they never do. And when they do, they change it. I saw a clip of Vigal saying, this year, if we don't win nothing this year, yeah, and City don't win the league and somebody else does, he has to be sacked. There's a clip going around, yeah, and now he's saying, nah, keep him. This is the problem, I think, for those fan bases. They never give a cut-off date. They never say, this is the year. If you don't win anything this year, he's got to go. And when they do it, they always change their mind halfway through the season and blame the referees or blame this or blame that. They never do. It's just like an ongoing process. We'll do it next year.
But there's a comment here that says, took Sir Alex Ferguson 4 years to win his first.
Oh, what we doing here, man?
I hear you. It says, leave the man build. If he doesn't make it, the club will let him go. Grow up, man. This is the thing. I don't even mind the opinion if it's just keep him. He's going to get it right at some point. And once he wins one, I believe he's going to go on to win loads. At least that's your logic. What LB is talking about here, Gooners on the sofa, is Arsenal fans that say if he doesn't win a trophy this year, he's got to be sacked. And then completely change their mind and maybe do that 2-3 years running. You're sort of setting the standard of you believe he's built something. You want to keep him there until you guys regress, essentially. But I'm not overly against your stance because at least you're taking a stance and you're kind of sticking to it. But it's the up and the equally like the Arteta outers who once upon a time said if he gets into a title race, I'll be fully behind him. They moved the goalpost. A lot of the Arteta inners, they set a standard of no trophy by the end of the next season. He's gone. You get to the end of that season, the can's kicked down the road again. And it doesn't mean the club's going to do it, but at some point, at the very least, you've got to criticize him for not winning something. And I do think Arteta deserves criticism this year. I absolutely do think that there have been games where he was too pragmatic earlier on in the season, a little bit too risk averse. That led to points being dropped, which, again, then the red cards happened. A couple of them justified, some of them I don't think were. Absolutely, as an example. You've then had the injuries. Some of that you could argue is on the club and manager. No backup for Saka as an example. Kai Havertz, look, I think it's a freak accident. It's happened as an example. You know, Gabriel Jesus's, again, it was an innocuous moment on a football pitch. These things happen. But then the club have an opportunity to go out in the January and buy. I think it's about having honest conversations, Gunners on the sofa, as opposed to just sack him, no matter what he does, good, bad, or indifferent, just sack him. I think there's a difference in that.